on how we can streamline, get more efficiencies, I think you're already on that road. But let me turn to Senator.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Senator Hutchinson.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Mr. Attorney General, we will have questions for the record, but I wanted to pursue this public integrity unit's misconduct against Senator Stevens. The court appointed counsel after you moved to dismiss the case. The court appointed counsel to investigate the botched prosecution of Senator Stevens and found that the prosecutors engaged in systematic concealment of evidence, but they were not guilty of criminal contempt. And according to the summary that was put out in the public, the full report coming later, it said that the court said, despite findings of widespread and at times intentional misconduct, the special counsel, Mr. Schulke, recommended against contempt charges because prosecutors did not disobey a clear and equivocal order by the judge as required under law. Now, Judge Sullivan said, upon review of the docket and proceedings in the Stevens case, Mr. Schulke concludes no such order existed in this case. Rather, the court accepted the repeated representations of the subject prosecutors that they were familiar with their discovery obligations, were complying with those obligations, and were proceeding in good faith. My question to you is, does it concern you that the only reason these prosecutors escaped criminal charges is that the judge in the Stevens case didn't file an order specifically telling the prosecutors that they should follow the law?
Well, I mean, I think we have to take into account a variety of things. When I was made aware of the issues that led to the inquiry that Judge Sullivan ordered, I ordered that the case be dismissed. I also ordered that an Office of Professional Responsibility report be done as an internal Justice Department report, which has now been completed. It is now in its final stages of being worked through.
Will it be made public, Mr. Attorney General?
I'm hoping that we can. There are privacy interests that we have to deal with, but my hope is to get that report, or as much of the report, made public as we possibly can. It is an exhaustive study. It is hundreds of pages long, and I think the people at OPR have done a good job and and there are recommendations with regard to sanctions that ought to be made. So I'm hoping that we will make that available.
I'm going to request that you do.
Mm-hmm. Okay. The report, I'm not really at liberty to discuss the report that Mr. Schulke did. We've gotten a limited number of those reports, I think in the Justice Department, 10 or 15 of them, and they are we're under orders by the judge not to discuss those. I've had a chance to review certainly the summary and portions of it, and some of the findings that are made there are disturbing. They were disturbing when I made the decision to dismiss the case. We have done a lot, I think, since that time to come up with ways in which we try to prevent those kinds of mistakes from happening again. We have an extensive training program. We have hired somebody who is responsible as a coordinator to make sure that discovery in criminal cases and civil cases that the Justice Department is involved in, so we don't fall back into those same kinds of errors. I have spoken to members of the judiciary, all to make sure that what happened in the case involving Senator Stevens is not replicated. But I would urge everybody to understand that this Justice Department, this Attorney General, when we made that determination that mistakes had occurred, took the extraordinary step of dismissing that case.
Which I give you full credit for. Now let me ask you, 4 of the 6 prosecutors, according to reports, who were investigated, opposed releasing the report, and their names have been redacted. I want to ask you if any of these prosecutors are still in the Justice Department system.
I have to check that just to make sure, but I believe all of the prosecutors who were involved in that case are still in the department. I believe that's true. I'm not totally sure of that.
Does that trouble you that there would be findings of misconduct in such a sensitive area that they would still be, that you would not let them go outside of our justice system?
Well, it depends on the nature of the misconduct, what it is that they did, the mistakes that were made. I think one has to look at the Schulke report that is about to be released, combined with the OPR report and the recommendations for sanctions that are contained in that OPR report, to look at what exactly should happen to these people. Was the incident an isolated one? How serious was it? What is the nature of the
Are you going to
contribution?
do that, Mr. Attorney General? Are you going to make a decision regarding people who have clearly exhibited that they do not have the integrity to prosecute in this sensitive area? Will you tell the committee what your actions are when you have made that determination?
Well, the actions that we take, I don't think there's any Privacy Act interest that prevents us from sharing with the public, with this committee, what actions we have ultimately decided to take against those people who are found to have been culpable.
Well, I ask that you report that to the committee. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Senator Brown?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And